Welcome, Chumash and Rashi. We continue in the last Torah portion, the book of Shmois, the book of Exodus. And we are the second reading, Parshas Pekudei. We continue with the items in the Mishkan, the sanctuary, the home of God. V'yas, and these are the things that were commanded previously in Parshas Truma, Tetzaveh, and Kisisa. And now we speak about them being made. Yasas ephod, and he made the ephod. The ephod, if you recall, is like it was in Parshas Tetzaveh, clothing of the Kohen Gadol. Second, I have it here. Well, it's in front over here. The Kohen Gadol, the high priest, wears it. And it's like a robe. Not a robe, it's like an apron, right? It was tied in the front, like a backwards apron. So he made it, the ephod zahav tchelis, and it was made from gold, turquoise tchelis, argamon and purple, the seilas shani, and scarlet wool. 3 different types of wool, gold. B'sheish mazar, and twisted linen. The yiraku is pache hazov, and they hammered out the sheets of gold. Right, the kitzitz psile laseis b'seichat tchelis, and they cut out threads. Psilim are threads. Laseis b'seichat tchelis, to intertwine it in between the turquoise, b'seich argamon, and the purple, b'seich shalani, seilas shani, and the scarlet wool, and also together with the linen. So it was very thin and twisted as like a piece of a thread. This is a woven design. So Rashi, picking up on the words by Yiraku, and they spread it thin. Kamai l'reika ha'aretz, to him who flattens the earth. A verse in Tehillim. Kitarguma v'reidedu. So Onkelos translates that it was beat flat, right? Spread thin, the gold. Tasin hoyim eradinim min hazav. They would beat plates from gold, and in Old French, estondra. Tasin dakim, thin plates. Kan hu medcha. This teaches you over here. How could they spin the gold with the threads of the 3 different threads of wool and linen? They would beat plates, thin plates of gold. And they've cut strands from them across the length of the plate. And they put these strands in a mixture with each and one of the 4 different types of material. And this was used for the chayshin, the breastplate, and the ephod, the apron that we're talking about over here. Because it says in those 2 particular items, zahav, gold, that they were the only garments that included gold. There was one thread of gold intertwined into 6 threads of turquoise wool, chainim kol min v'min, and likewise in every other variety. So there were shekol aminim achud kafel shisha. So all the others were 6-fold threads, right? The 6-fold threads times 4. Vazav chud shvi shekol echad be'echad, and the gold was the 7th thread of each one of them. I don't think in Parshas Tetzaveh he explained that. I don't know if it was, this detail might be something new. Picking up the word Yiraku, right? Give me a second, I'm just curious. Take a look. I think this is something new that we didn't have before. How about the strands? Second. Well, it does say about the gold, but it doesn't say here, and that's what Rashi is picking up on it, of what kind of labor it was. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it doesn't say what kind of labor it was. It says Maaseh Choishev, which means a work of an artist. Here it's adding, and that's why Rashi is giving the explanation here, because everything else, this is an addition over here, saying that the Yiraku, right? So Yiraku means they beat it out. They beat out the gold. Pache Hazov. Yeah, this is something new that we didn't have previously. Okay. The rest of it is something that we've learned already, and that's why there's no Rashi. Let's continue in 4. Ksefais Asulai, those are shoulder straps they made for it. Chayveres said are attached al shnei ktseisav on 2 ends, the chubar and connected at the 2 ends. Here are the straps. Here you can see. This is the aphid over here. There's it, right. And what it's in front, it's connected to the breastplate, right? In number 5. So there was a belt that was fastened. So it was also made from gold and the turquoise wool, the purple wool, the scarlet wool, and the twisted linen, as God had commanded Moshe. And that was to fasten. Yasu said, "Avnei Ashoyam Mishabos Mishmatzois Zohab Petuche Chaisam Al Shmeiz Bnei Israel." And now we're talking about the onyx stones that were mounted in gold settings. They were engraved as a signet ring is engraved with the names of the sons of Israel. meaning Jacob's sons, the tribes, exactly. Yasim Esam al Kisvei Ephod, and they were affixed on the straps, the shoulder straps of the ephod, Avnei Zikarin. They were stones of remembrance in Israel for the sons of Israel, as Hashem commanded Moshe. So these straps over here had a stone on it, and that stone, each stone had 6 names of the tribes that was engraved on it. These are not the stones of the breastplate now. This is at the upper end of the shoulder straps of the ephod. There's stones there.
So this would include the name of Levi then, as opposed to Manasseh and Ephraim.
Good question. I don't think so. But
because it says the sons of Israel's sons.
Good question. Maybe. You know what? I have to look back in Parshas Truma. I have to look over there to see if I think it says, but let's finish off and maybe we'll take a look. Okay. Number 8, Vyas is a cheshin, and he made the breastplate. Maise cheshiv, a woven design, can maise ephod, like that of the ephod, meaning, what was that? Zahav, from gold strands, chelis, turquoise wool, argamon, purple wool, selas, and scarlet wool, shani, sheish majzar, and twisted linen. Ravua kofel also is a cheshin. So the breastplate was folded over in a square to make a square. Zeres arkav, zeres rachvay kofel. It was this. It was a zeres, which was it was a span long and a span wide, folded. So there were 4 rows of mounted gems on this breastplate. First row was the row containing a carnelian, an emerald, and a topaz. That was in the 4 rows. That's the first 3. Torah Sheni in the second row, and 11, no fech sapir yahole, a red garnet, a sapphire, and a diamond. Torah Shlishi in the third row, leshem nishvai, ma'achlama, a zircon, an agate, and an amethyst. Okay, for all the gem experts. Torah V, and the third row, Tarshish Shoyam Shvei, was an aquamarine, an onyx, and a jasper. They were mounted that they were like encased in a gold setting. And the stones of the names of the children of Israel, Heina, were there. Shtei Misrei, 12. Al Shmoisam, on their names, V'tuchei Chaisim, Ish al Shmoi, L'shtei Misar Shabbat. So each was engraved like a signet ring for all the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes is suggesting that we be Menashe and Ephraim and not Levi. That's what I would think. Right? Because those are the 12 tribes. Yasu is a cheshin, and they made the cheshin shar sharais, gavlus, maisa avos, zohav Torah. So they made the cheshin, right? The edge of this breastplate that would be connected to the shoulder straps of the ephod was made from pure gold chains braided like cords. That's these over here. So here you have the gems that we mentioned before that's on the top part. And over here, connected to those gems is just gold chains that connect directly to the breastplate. Right. 17. V'yitnu shtei ha'avaisais, and they took the two braided azov, braided chains, the two gold braids, al shtei hatabais, they put it through two rings, al ksei sacheshen, that are in the corner of the cheshen, right? On the breastplate. There was here you could see there's a little ring over here. It's very small, this picture, but that, right? Yasu shtei tabais. So 18. There's stay ha'avaisais. Nasa al stay hat mishbatzais v'yitnu ma'al kitzvais ha'ephod al mulpanav. So the two ends, they attach the two ends of these two gold braids, right, to the two settings that were affixed on the shoulder strap of the ephod. So that's the top part where it was affixed, right? V'yasu shtei ta'avais zoh v'yasimu al shekasei sacheshin al sfas asher al evra ephod ba'isa. They also made two additional gold rings that were attached them to the two lower corners of the breastplate. To them on the corners of the edge of the faces of the ephod, and the rings being attached to the inner fold of the breastplate. That's over here, this picture over here, there's on the bottom, over here, they also made,
Okay.
right, two braids put in two settings that were fixed on the bottom. That was coming from the back side of the ephod. Right, it's coming from the back side. And verse number 20, Yasu Shtei Ta'avos Zahav. So they made two gold rings. This is a third set. V'yitnu al shtei kisveis ha'ephod, and they were placed on the outer edge of the lower ends of the two shoulder straps. Melamata mimul ponav leumas mechabarta mimal lachesha ba'ephod. So the lower two shoulders of the back of the ephod, next to where they were joined, above the belt of the ephod. Yeah, okay, as we showed in the picture. Okay. The Yirkisus HaChoshen, so they link now the breastplate, the Choshen, the Ta'aboisa, Al Ta'aboisa Ephod. So the Chelis Liyas L'Cheshem HaEphod, V'lo Yizach HaChoshen Miyah, V'ala Ephod, Kasher Tziva Hashem Es Moshe. So they linked it to the rings from the rings of the ephod to the rings of the breastplate with a turquoise wool. That way, the breastplate will be connected to the front of the belt of the ephod, so that the breastplate would not come loose, as Hashem commanded Moshe. So you had a connection here on top. You had a connection here on the bottom. So that way it remained, so to speak, sturdy. Okay. All this is something that we've learned already. It's being repeated, as we mentioned, and we spoke about at length yesterday in the class. Right? The only thing that was different here is about the hammering out of the sheets of gold. That's something that has been added here that wasn't in Parshas Truma. So you're asking about the 12 tribes. Who are the 12 tribes? I don't think Levi is included, but I might be wrong. I think you're right. I think it's not Ephraim and Manasseh. I think it's Yosef and Levi are there. That's what I'm seeing from commentators. It seems to suggest, because it's saying the order of their age and what the birth mothers. Might be wrong. May not be so. I'm not, not clear 100%.
Because if there's a change, why?
Huh?
I said, if there's a change, it would beg the question why, the breastplate about.
Because we already learned that Yaakov said that they are mine, right? They're like, so how are they mine? In other words, they're like my sons. They're called his children, right? Uniquely so. So
the question is, why would it change?
let's find out. Let's ask. On the breastplate that the high priest would wear in the holy temple, there were 12 gems. What were the names of the 12 tribes, the sons of Jacob, that were on the breastplate? Is there any difference of opinion in the names? Yeah, there's a difference of opinions.
Mm.
Yeah. Where is this debate between the two opinions of the names found? Yeah, in the Talmud Midrash, there's debate. So it seems that Rashi says 12 tribes were inscribed without specifying whether. Yeah, I couldn't tell from Rashi. The Ramban says that the order of birth and the encampment formation in the desert. So it doesn't look so clear. All right. Okay. We are coming up to Rambam. I mean, Tanya, then Rambam. Yes. Okay. We'll see you in a